Everybody, welcome along to this special live stream. How's everyone doing today? I can see we got Ronnie in the chat. If you can see and hear me okay, and I'm coming through loud and clear, please let me know in the live chat. It should be over on your side, over that way maybe. I don't know exactly where it is. But if I'm coming through loud and clear, that would be wonderful, and then we can get started. It is 4 p.m. UK time, beautiful weather outside. Just had to close all the windows, so please excuse any sweat marks on myself. It is very hot and I do not have air conditioning. So thank you for joining me today. We will get started here in a couple of seconds. And we're going to talk about coming up with original, funny ideas, how AI fits into that, and a few ways that it can help you grow your business, your sales, especially talking about print on demand and print on demand platforms, in particular organically. So that's the focus for today. I can see we got Ellen here. Yeah, if you can see and hear me okay and everything's looking good, please let me know in the live chat where you're watching from. That would be great as well. So we've got Ronnie and Ellen in the house already, which is awesome. I think everything's hunky-dory, so we can get started here in a couple of seconds. And I'm just going to verify that everything's working okay. Just bear with me one tick. Okay, I think we're good. All right, let's get started here today. So let me just pull up my slides and we will dive into it. We'll go for about an hour here today. Won't go much over that because it's too hot anyway, and I might just pass out. So, how to discover funny ideas is the topic of today's live training. If you've got questions, I should maybe say just before we get started, I will make sure we leave time for questions at the end. So if you've got questions, you can save them for that. Or if you just want, if it's something you want to hop in on and ask a question as I'm going through, you can do that too. I've got the live chat up here on my screen, so I will be keeping an eye on that, and I can address any questions that come in as we go. So whichever one works for you, I'll make sure to leave some time at the end, but don't worry about taking me off track. We can go on a few little side journeys on this training today. Okay, we got Bo in the house. Hello, Bo. Hope you're doing well. Okay, so let's head back to the slides and we'll get started. So how to discover funny ideas. And my name is Michael Essek. You may have heard of me before, or you may know me from previous live sessions or my email newsletter. I started selling my designs on Redbubble over 10 years ago. Sold designs on Merch by Amazon, on TeePublic, on TeeFury, on Threadless, licensed designs to Hot Topic and Spencer's and Sainsbury's here in the UK. You may have seen me on live streams with Adobe or GoodType or Printify or Printful. So just showing you a few logos to make sure you know that I'm not just popped up yesterday. I've been around the block, and I managed to build a business where, based on my original ideas and original designs, I have a steady income coming from various different print-on-demand platforms and sites, and also art licensing as well. And yeah, so today what we're going to talk about, these are some of the kind of designs I create, so funny puns and cute animals and original, unique stuff, and kind of not just that, but I also like to hop on trends, and if there's some kind of viral trend or meme or thing, I like to occasionally dip into those as well. So I don't just do one type of design, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, why that's important. But today, here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about the AI paradox and the big opportunity that I see right now. We're going to talk about why you need to think like a factory instead of like an artist, and also how to get the biggest bang for your buck. So how can you actually maximize your results? We'll talk about that here today as well. Karen's in the house. Hello, Karen. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Okay, the AI paradox. Let's start with this. So Excuse me. Let me clear my throat there a second. So AI, that's a very short term to cover a lot of ground, but AI has developed obviously dramatically in the past few years, not just with the chat GPTs, but with the image generation, so the ability to create designs. I think it's safe to say that now it's AI image generation is at a stage where it's, surpassing or certainly equaling the ability and the skill of designers. It's almost impossible to differentiate between something that was AI generated and something that wasn't. And it's increasingly becoming, for people like me, a very useful tool for creating types of illustrations, for quickly mocking things up, for brainstorming and inspiration. And all that has happened in the past couple of years. And I think you see AI stuff everywhere, but I still think there's this AI opportunity, and in particular this AI paradox. So what we have right now is we have AI that can actually create almost like infinite designs, right? So here's a little sketch of my robot of AI. This is AI, no specific AI. This could be Midjourney or GPT-1 or Ideogram or whatever. But we now have AI that can create designs, right? It can create stuff for us, and this AI is essentially like a designer. So I have for several years employed designers. I've hired designers in particular to do illustrations for me and to create the finished artwork from an idea. So I would give these guys an idea, and I would give them some reference images, and I would describe the idea, and then they would turn it into a finished design. And now we have a robot, an AI that can actually do this for us. The difference being that the AI can work 24 hours a day, and actually, because it works based on like prompts or simply text inputs, there really is no limit to what it can produce. So it's essentially like you have this designer who never needs a break, never needs to sleep, and you can actually, capacity-wise, it's infinite. It doesn't, it's really just based on how much can you give it, how much input can you give it, how many ideas over here can you supply to your robot, because the robot's going to do whatever it's given to do. It can actually produce an infinite amount of output. Its capacity is unlimited. Does that make sense? We got a few others joining us here. We got Ted. We got Peter from Israel. That's awesome. We've got Old Hag 73. Hello to you as well. Yeah, if you can let me know where you're watching from, that would be cool also. So yeah, we've got this AI which has infinite design capacity. Okay, so it can produce, as many designs as you can possibly throw at it. So it's a great designer. It's actually now very, very good. I mean, this is not 2023 when AI image generation was still very kind of basic and couldn't produce stuff that looked professional. We now have something that produces designs that are, professional looking. The illustrations work, all that kind of stuff. So it's an infinite designer, infinite capacity. It can produce, I think it's fair to say, like really good output, especially if you know what you want. That's not necessarily to say that it produces finished designs. I'm usually using AI as part of a process rather than as the complete kind of thing. But yeah, it can certainly do stuff that is usable now. So designs that I'm getting back from the AI or illustrations and artwork, they're actually now making their way into my finished designs in some capacity. Okay, we got a lot of people just joining us. We got Heather's watching from Washington State. That's great. Ted's from Florida. Terrence in Chicago. Ellen's in London. Karen's in Minneapolis. And Dreamcast is in Georgetown, Guyana. Wonderful. Thank you guys for joining me. That's really great to hear where everyone's from. So yeah, we've got this infinite design capacity now in 2025. It's actually good. It actually produces good designs and good artwork. But this is the big one. It actually sucks at ideas. Now, obviously, like image generation models don't generate ideas. That's not their job. I'm talking here more about AI as in large language models like your ChatGPTs or your Claudes or your Groks or whatever your flavor of AI is. They actually don't work very well at ideas. I mean, I can demo this for you really quickly. Let's just pull up ChatGPT. And obviously, I'm not like bad-mouthing ChatGPT. It's very useful for a lot of things. But if I just ask it here to give me 10 funny t-shirt ideas about reindeers, for example. And here it goes. Sorry I'm late. I got stuck in reindeer traffic. Rain beers powered by ale and antlers. My spirit animal is a reindeer. Santa's real MVP. Don't make me get my reindeer. Reindeer Games champion. Feeling horny? Maybe. Dasher Dancer, nope. Napper, ask me about my reindeer impression. So I think it's fair to say that what you tend to get with AI and ChatGPT when you ask it for ideas like this is kind of like, it almost like tries too hard and it just doesn't come off and it doesn't really work. And I think there's a reason behind this. I think the reason is as follows. I think AI is actually can't really be funny, and I'll explain what I mean here and why. Hi, Chad. Chad's in the live chat from Minneapolis, and Don from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Great to have you guys here. Thank you for joining me. Yeah, so why AI isn't funny? I actually think this is kind of fundamental, and this is the case, whatever AI model you're using, whether it's ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, they just struggle with this thing about coming up with original jokes and lines that both haven't been done before and are actually useful and funny to turn into designs. So why AI isn't funny, let me share with you my my theory on this. This is why AI can't do jokes. And this is, just briefly, this is what a joke is, okay? This is a diagram of a joke. A joke happens when thing one comes into conflict with thing two, okay? That's like the fundamental building blocks of any joke. So all the way from like if you have a baby and you do this and you play peekaboo with the baby, thing one, thing two, okay? Thing one, thing two, that's creating this conflict, and that's why the baby laughs. That's the essence of humor and jokes. So thing one, thing two. So why AI can't do jokes is because AI's been trained to produce the most correct word from a sentence. So AI is like it's a text predictor. It says, you give it, word, word, and then you say, what's this word going to be? And then it's scored, it's kind of trained, and the word should be, likely it should be predictable, it should be what should fit there. Now, of course, that runs in contrast to this, because most jokes and one-liners and puns and things like that, it's like, here's the words, and then this word or this sentence or this thing is actually running in contrast to this, and that's where the joke is created. So that's why AI can't really do jokes. I think it's kind of a fundamental thing. Who knows? Maybe people will actually focus some attention on this, and maybe the AI will get better at it. But as it stands, we have this kind of disconnect. So we have this problem or this opportunity where we have infinite design capacity. We have a robot that can produce as many designs as we want, but we have a finite idea supply. AI can't do the ideas. It can do the designs. It can't create these actually funny concepts, these pattern interrupts. Thank you, Karen. These pattern interrupts that create really funny ideas. And this is evident because, as designers and as individuals, as far as I know, you could like there's nothing really stopping you because we have this infinite design capacity, this robot that can work around the clock. You could have, why don't you have, and I'm asking this of myself as well, why don't I have 10,000 designs up right now? Why don't I have 50,000 designs up right now? Why do I only have 2 or 3,000 up, which is my current portfolio? And it isn't that the AI can't do it, and it can't, it's that we have this issue with ideas. We have this problem on the idea side. So if you could feed the AI with enough good ideas, we know that the AI can produce the artwork. Could you really fail to grow? I think, if we took your portfolio, however many that is, maybe you've got a couple of hundred designs, maybe you've got a couple of thousand. If we blew that up by 5 or 10 times, do you think your earnings, your monthly income from those designs, would it go up or down, or would it stay the same? I think it's a fairly safe bet that if you could maintain your sales ratio to designs, then of course, by definition, having more designs would lead to more sales, would lead to more income. And that's not new. Like a lot of people understand that and have heard that before, more designs, more income. But what is new is that we have this disconnect. We have this opportunity, if you like, we have this opportunity to produce designs, but we don't have the ideas to back it up. That's what's going on. So that leads me on to this this thing about thinking like a factory. Now, a lot of us, maybe we've come from an art and design background. That's my background. I studied art and design for a year. I did illustration. I got a job as a graphic designer and a web designer, and I did t-shirt designs on the side to begin with. It was a side hustle. It was a way to make a bit of side income. That's how I got into print on demand. And even though it was a way to make money, it was still like, well, I'm creating things that I want to create. I'm an artist. I'm a creative person, and I'm pouring my energy and my creativity into these designs. And I didn't really think about it as a business until much later. And this is not necessarily just thinking about your thing like a business, but actually think about it like a factory. Now, when I began creating designs, it was very much as and when, like, oh, that would be a good idea, or that might be a funny idea, let me turn that into a design. Then the week after, I'd be no ideas, and then the week after that, I'd have a load of ideas, and then the week after, I had one idea. And so it's just kind of very, stop and start. And as a creator, you are obviously limited by what you can create. You have a limited amount of time and resources, so you're not. And also, you're just like, I don't feel like doing it today. Don't feel like creating today. I'm going to do something else. Now, that's very different from a factory, of course. Now, how a factory works, and I'm sure this is fairly obvious to most of us, but a factory is something like this. And a factory doesn't stop working because the boss feels ill, and it doesn't stop producing things because the boss doesn't feel like it today. The factory keeps working, kind of like our robot, 24 hours a day, or well, maybe not 24 hours a day, but there's no limit on the kind of production capacity of the factory. And the factory has inputs, and the factory has outputs. So here we've got some like raw materials. I don't know what these would be, whatever, and outputs. And here's a widget, or I don't know. This is a football, I guess. It produces something. So raw materials go in, like, I don't know, rubber and plastic, and then footballs come out the other side of the factory. And this happens day after day after day. Inputs go in, raw materials come out. Sorry, raw materials go in, and then footballs come out, and then these go and make money for the factory, or for the owners of the factory, I should say. So this is very different from how creatives work, where we don't really think of it as like an ongoing process that we keep going and going and going. We tend to think of, hey, here's an idea, and then I'm going to turn it into a design, and then, hey, here's another idea that's different from that one. I'm going to turn that one into a design. Instead of thinking about your ideas as raw material, which is really what they are, and then those ideas going through a process and your designs coming out the other side, which is really what's happening. But what I want you to kind of get is this this process part of it. It's not that it's not that you do things as and when. It's like you have this process that runs, and this is a business. This is when you have a business. You have something that consistently keeps going, and that's how you are able to grow something consistently. So there's a quote I just want to share, which I heard a few years ago, and it's really stuck with me. This is from Dan Kennedy, who's a famous copywriter, an entrepreneur type guy, and he said, "You had better sustain a." This was I think it was kind of in response to like 2008 and the financial crash and all that kind of stuff. So he said, "You had better sustain a very serious commitment to maintaining, improving, enhancing, and strengthening your own ability to produce, because in truth, it's all you've got and it's all you will ever have. Anything and everything else you see around you, you acquire and accumulate, you invest in, you trust in, that can all disappear in the blink of an eye." So this has stuck with me because I think it's really bears true, especially when, we're going through a lot of changes currently with print on demand, with different platforms that are rising and falling, Redbubble's on the way down, there are new platforms coming up, there's constant change going on. And if you had all your designs on Redbubble and that was your only platform, then maybe, you start to see that disappear. Maybe not in the blink of an eye, but, sometimes it is. Sometimes sites have dropped, like that. And that business that you thought you had, that monthly income that you were generating, can just disappear. So the answer to this, or really there's not really an answer to that. Like everything you do, your designs could be taken down. You could have copyright strikes. There could be, all kinds of things. There could be royalty reductions. All these things constantly, these risks that are all around us. So what you want to have is this ability to produce. What you want to be able to do, like a factory, is just keep producing. So that if all those footballs that you generated and made yesterday, if for some reason they all fell into the ocean or there was a fire and they all burnt down, you would still have the factory, you would still be able to produce more footballs for the next day. And so you would just have this process, you would have this factory type thing going so that you can produce. Now, as an artist, you are the factory, if you like, or you certainly kind of own the factory, that's you. But this is still an important thing to kind of understand and to create that differentiation. So a real business is like a factory. It has inputs and outputs, and ideas are your inputs. They're your raw materials, and without enough of them, if you don't have enough ideas, if you don't have enough raw materials, you can't run your factory at full capacity. You can't keep that process going because you need those inputs in order to generate your outputs. And for those who maybe, just to draw this distinction, because I know sometimes people get confused. What do you mean by like an idea? Isn't that the same as a design? No, a t-shirt design or a graphic design is a fixed thing. It's a PNG file or a PSD or whatever. It's something we can see. It's tangible. An idea is not tangible. It's something that you think up. It could be a funny phrase. It could be a one-liner. It could be a pun or a joke. These are things that you can't see, that you can't touch, and you have to go through this process, like the factory. You have to go through this process of taking that and turning it into a design. And that's the distinction I want to make. So I'm not talking here about your actual designs. Those are not your inputs. Your inputs are your ideas. And if you have loads of ideas, guess what? You can produce loads of designs. If you have not many ideas, then you can't produce many designs, and your factory is going to slow down, and you're going to get to a point where your factory is just spitting out the odd football every couple of months or something like that, which is no way to run a business. That's not going to work. So creating designs is this ongoing, continual process. That's what I want you to kind of get from this. It's this thing that doesn't stop. It continues like a factory, like a production line. There's things that come in, they go through a process, they go out, but it's not that this thing comes in and that thing goes down the production line and that thing then goes off. It's that this process is constantly going with all these things flowing in, all of them going down, all of them coming out the other end, and it's going on and on and on and on. And that process doesn't stop Like the process doesn't stop. It's just that you can get better at it. You can actually improve your process. You can get better at different things in the factory. Think about a factory. The factory could get better at, turning. It could get better at producing more footballs. It could get better at. It could get cheaper raw materials. So it's not that the process stops and that it finishes. It's not like I have this idea, I've turned it into a design, now I'm done. It's that you have this process that keeps going, and you keep pushing in more ideas, and you keep generating more designs. So that leads me on to this this idea of the idea multiplier effect. So this is based on this where am I here? This is based on this thing that not all ideas are created equal. Okay, so there are different idea types, and some of them are going to be better than others. And just as an example of what I mean by this, I realized my business had a bottleneck around about 2018, 2019. I realized that most of my kind of early years, so 2015 to 2018, I'd produced designs like this, like unique, original designs. And that means that each design would not be, I wouldn't just create around one niche or one topic. I would, this design would be about this niche, this design might be about this topic, this design might appeal to this, and I would just do whatever I felt was the best idea. I would prioritize based on ideas. It was the idea that was the most important thing to me, and if it was funny and if I thought it had a chance of selling, I would create it, and that's what led my portfolio. So my portfolio was very varied, covered all kinds of niches and topics. It wasn't focused on one particular area. You could broadly say that they were kind of funny t-shirts, but that's not really a very meaningful kind of niche to talk about. So I just covered lots and lots of different kind of areas. And then after a few years, I thought, well, more designs means more income. Why don't I kind of churn out some of these? Because I saw people doing things like the best grandmas are born in November, and then it would be the best grandmas are born in December, the best grandmas are born in January, and they go through the months, and then they change grandmas for grandpas, and so on. And you'd scale out these ideas, and then the portfolio would be, instead of having 100 unique, each one different designs, you would have 100 grandma designs, or maybe not, you'd have 12 grandmas are born in whatever designs. And other things like this too. So these kind of unique designs versus what I would call boilerplated designs. And what I realized was that the unique designs, if I had 100 unique designs, they would make, say, $1,000 a month. If I had 100 boilerplated designs, they would make, I don't know, maybe a couple of hundred, if that. So there was this big kind of disconnect and this bottleneck where it was, over here we could create a lot of designs, individual designs, but they weren't earning as much. And over here we could create, lots of unique designs, but we actually had a kind of limit. We had a bottleneck because I didn't have the capacity to produce them. I had to think about each of these ones. I had to, run it through an artist. I had to think about how I was going to explain it, and it took much more time than it did to churn out these fellows over here. So that's what I mean by like limits on your capacity, but also the different types of ideas you create. And I think I'm not going to say that there's like one way to do this. There's many ways to make money from your artwork. There's many niches, topics, markets. There's lots of different things you could focus on. The point is that you don't want to do just one thing and have all your eggs in that basket. You want to really try and do a lot of different things and see what takes off and be led by that. So here's an illustration to try and just kind of demonstrate this. So this is supposed to be, so each of these like little dots here, let's say each of these is like a little niche or a little sub niche or market. So like, I don't know, one of these might be Greek philosophy, and one of them might be reindeers, and one of them might be gardening. I don't know. Just like, it could be really more specific than that. But let's just say that out there in the universe, if you like, there are people interested in all these different topics, and they occasionally go on Amazon or wherever and they search for t-shirts and funny t-shirts around this thing. And there's loads of them. And we don't know what they are because, there's not enough supply out there. So, there's lots of different ones. And this is you. This is your portfolio right here. This is your portfolio of designs. And let's say this is 100 designs that you've got. Now, because you've got 100 designs, and some of them, they're all different kind of topics and niches. The problem is that really you only land around like, a small kind of area. You're only able to, because you've only got 100 designs, you're only able to cover this area. Now, of course, if you have a bigger portfolio, what happens is you cover a much wider area. You reach areas that you weren't previously able to reach. And the really interesting thing is that some of these things that you can now reach that you weren't able to reach them over here because you only had 100 designs. If you had 1,000 designs, say, for example, now you're reaching a much bigger area, but you reach this one here, which is going to go bananas. There's some little kind of untapped niche over here, which no one knew about, which no one tapped into before, and you're going to sit atop the results, and you're going to be the only one there for a while, and you're just going to be able to grow like crazy. Or this one over here, that's going to take off. And it's only in creating so much more and really stretching your capacity that you're able to tap into this, that you're able to reach these things. I'm not saying that 100 designs won't get you some, you might hit one or two of these things, you might get lucky, but that's nothing compared to what you'll be able to do when you have, vastly increased capacity. So it's not just about linear growth, it's actually about quite significant exponential growth that can happen when you do this. So let me just share with you one more demonstration of this, which is this here. So, for example, let's say this is you, with a small number of designs, and what happens is you add more designs and you make more money. And this was me in kind of 2017 or early days. I would create, 10 more designs this month. We'd make a bit more money. No, sorry, that's not a good number. I would create maybe something like 20 designs a week, and then next month, and then you just keep going, and you've got this kind of linear growth, right? So you're just going up as you create more designs, as you make more money because you have those more designs, which is great. But this is what you really want to do, which is add way more designs, and not just more designs, but add way more unique and original designs. And instead of your growth being linear like this, sorry, a bit wobbly there, instead of being like this, it actually goes like that, because you're tapping into things you weren't able to tap into before because you only had a small portfolio. You're never actually able to reach some of these things that, absolutely rocket boost your sales and your business. So it's not just coming up with more, it's also coming up with more that are this, unique approach, so that you're not just doing a load of designs here in one little bucket or over here, but you're actually covering a really broad range, so you're catching a lot of potential. Does that make sense? I hope so. So let me go back to my slides here. So the perfect combo would be you want to increase your production of designs, which we've already established we can do thanks to AI. We can actually produce that. We can increase our volume. We can get the volume up. But you also want to increase the quality of your designs through better ideas. So better ideas lead you to better designs, and that's what you want. And that's how your factory grows, right? You have this process that we've already talked about. You have this process going on, and instead of just increasing capacity. You're actually getting better at coming up with ideas. You're actually getting better at producing designs that people actually want to buy. And that's how your process can just keep on improving. That's how you don't just have a business that makes you a couple of thousand a month, but you actually see it go from a couple of thousand this month to 2,500 the next month, and then it's 3,000, and then it's 6,000, and it's growing like this. It's exponentially growing, it's compounding. It's not just doing this linear kind of growth thing. So the opportunity, thanks to AI, isn't to produce the same output with less effort, which is what you see some people kind of crowing about with AI. It's that this used to take me hours, and now I can do it in 10 minutes. That's, I think, the wrong way to think about using AI. That's the kind of level 1 beginner way to use it. Like people thinking, oh, I've saved so much time, now I can produce 10 designs in 10 minutes. Isn't that great? Now I've got so much more time to do something else. The way to use it is to actually say, well, I'm going to take that productivity that I've got thanks to AI and produce way more than I did before. So I'm not just going to, do the same output with less effort. I'm actually going to produce more. I'm going to get more output by putting in more effort, and instead of like just so it's to 10x your output and who knows your results. So you're not just going to get that kind of direct linear growth. You're not just going to be, oh, I've doubled my designs, now I'm doubling my income. It's like I've 10x'd my designs and I've 50x my income or something like that. So improving your ideas gives you the best return on investment, I believe. Does that make sense? Like you want to be improving your ideas because that affects everything else down the line. And if I can just kind of demonstrate this for you, I don't have one prepared here, so let me just sketch this out. But yeah, if you think about the process that you go through as a creative, so maybe you start with like a topic or a trend or a niche or something. Maybe it's a meme, maybe it's a joke, who knows. But you've got some kind of thing first, and then you come up with some ideas. That's the ideation process, or the process of actually coming up with something new. And then you have to kind of turn that into a design. And then that goes out and is distributed to the world. Goes out to your various sites or your Shopify store, and you start advertising it, or you license it, whatever. It goes out to all these places. And this is the linear way of looking at it, but actually this is a big, circle that continues. And you keep doing it, and you keep doing it, and you keep doing it. So I think that this one here, as part of the process, we've already established we've got the ability to do lots more designing than we currently do. Ideas is where I believe the biggest kind of additional leverage point is, because the quality of your ideas, as that goes up, your designs, they become more interesting to people. They get shared more. If you can come up with good, original, unique designs, I mean, that's how you build a brand. That's how you can hop on almost any trend that comes. If you can do this repeatedly, everything becomes easier down the line. Everything grows. Everything, it's just like oiling the cogs, if you like, if you can crack the ideas thing, if you can really get that down. So that's why I've focused on ideas as being like the thing to get good at, the thing to lean into, the thing to improve, to spend time doing, and because of that, I believe whilst my business has had its ups and downs, we've kept a really steady, strong base of income and of designs, because we can produce designs, we can produce new ideas, we can turn new ideas into designs and get them out quickly. And this happens continually. Designs I created last week have sold for the first time this week. And the trend that we spotted last week is doing really well this week. Now, I'm not saying that's every design. I'm not saying it's possible to do this and get 100% returns. What I'm saying is you can go from like, 20% of your designs getting a sale to 40%. Like, that's possible. I'm not saying that anyone ever reaches 100%. 1, 2. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. I think I just dropped connection for a second there. And my iPad is disconnected as well. That's okay. Maybe we don't need the iPad anymore. Okay, where was I? Oh, there we go. We got the iPad back. Okay, cool. So ideas. Improving your ideas gives you the biggest return on investment, and that's why I focused on it. That's why I created something called the Ideas Workshop a couple of years ago. This was a course where I taught all my idea generation methods. So I had created methods, I'd come up with methods kind of organically for several years as I've been working on things, processes that you could go through and be like, okay, here's a topic, what do we do? How do we come up with ideas for this topic? And I broke them down into these different methods. And you can see some of them on the screen here. So different ways of generating ideas like plug-in phrases and rhyme and replace and trending phrases. These are all different methods and techniques that I taught in the course. And then off the back of that course, a couple of years ago, we started building, I started to realize that maybe we could actually use software to do some of this for us. And that's how we began developing something called Ideally. So Ideally is idea generation software that I've built, and we have now we've managed to take a lot of these methods that we had over here and actually turn them into software that you can create designs and ideas with. So let me just share with you briefly how this works and give you kind of a demo of what it can do. So there's several tools inside Ideally. We have different ways of coming up with ideas, but let me just show you one or two of them. So I was looking at what was I was looking at TeePublic today, and I just saw this this design just jumps out at me, this Feral Girl summer one. I don't know whether you can see that. It's just like a possum or something, like this kind of thing. And obviously this is I don't know whether you'd call it a trend, not really a niche, but certainly a kind of zeitgeisty thing of like raccoons and possums and this kind of feral girl summer. And then there's lots of kind of lines about feral this and feral that and red, white and feral and cute but feral and stuff like that. So this is an example of where I might look at something like that and go, oh, okay, that's interesting. There's something going on over here. Let me see if I can come up with some original ideas using this word. And one of the tools that we have inside Ideally is called plug-in phrases. And this is a tool where we have thousands of fill-in-the-blank phrases, which are well-known and like proven winners, like ask me about something or did someone say something. And what you can do is put in a word and it will it will pop the word into all these fill-in-the-blank phrases. So I can put the word feral, and it's going to bring me back all these results that you can see here, like but first feral or feral forever. And it's going to actually bring back like alliteration ones at the top, because alliteration is a really good kind of bonus for ideas. Feeling feral and feral forever and get your feral on and things like this. I can just like favorite these inside Ideally. I can just heart them and they're going to be saved to my account. But what I can also do, because feral is an adjective, I can actually filter these results by adjective. I can just hit adjective and then we can see ones where that's a good fit, like set faces to feral is pretty fun. All my friends are feral. Feel the feral and so on. And then down here we've got ones that are not alliteration matches but are still kind of a good fit with that word, like kiss me I'm feral. And all I do is I just scroll down, and any ideas that jump out at me that I just think are funny for some reason, I just favorite them. And then you can see how that could quickly develop into having, hundreds of ideas in a pretty short space of time. And then we've got these ideas saved over here. Let me just show you one other tool that we've got, which is the rhyme and replace tool. So this, instead of using the fill in the blank thing, this does rhyming pairs. So if we put in the word feral over here, what that actually does is swaps out the word feral with any words that rhyme with it. So like feral godmother, which is kind of funny. Pharrell, or for real though, like feral though, or this one, I'm sorry, Miss Jackson, I am feral, a man for all seasons, and things like that. So yeah, that's another one that's really fun to use, and helps me come up with, original puns and things like that. Now, what we can actually do now is we can turn these into graphics and inspiration starting points for designs. I'm just going to favorite all these, and let's just say, so what I want to do is I'm going to generate some images from these. I'm going to say do a screaming possum. So that's our illustration or a subject, and then we've got all the latest AI models in here. We've got GPT, we've got ideogram, we've got Flux and Recraft and Imagen. We've actually just added one a couple of days ago called Sea Dream, which is quite good. I'm enjoying using this. So I'm just going to try a couple of these styles that we've got. So we've actually got some different visual styles, and what we can do is visualize each of those ideas that I just had in each of these styles. So I'm just going to hit create batch, and this is going to get started generating those, and it's going to take each of those ideas and it's going to do each of them in each of those visual styles. So here we go. We've got one that says feeling feral already, and this is, really nice. Clean style graphic, looks really good. Really like the font and the kind of feel of this. And you can see we're getting back different styles. We're not just getting back one particular thing. And obviously as well, you see that I didn't write out some big prompt here. I didn't write out some paragraph of text. I just said, hey, here's a line of text. Here's the subject matter. Show me some ideas for this. And that's what it's doing. And as you can see, it's going for each of these, and it's doing the different phrases. So not only am I getting different visuals, I'm actually able to see, does that design work? This is cool, but maybe we want to kind of change the impression a little bit, or maybe we want to change the style, or maybe, whatever it might be. So that's ideally. There's way more tools and way more stuff in here, which I'm not going to have time to show you today. We do have an academy inside Ideally, which will show you how to get started with all the different tools and all the different types of ideas you can generate inside them. But yeah, this is how I'm able to take to generate lots of ideas, like hundreds of ideas in the first place, but then actually use AI to help me turn them into graphics. And inside Ideally as well, we've got the ability now to, you can do all the things that you'd like to do. You can edit images here. You can remove the background and upscale them really quickly. We have a pixel perfect background remover. We can vectorize everything. So this is how I'm able to create the artwork or the fonts and the text, and really, set boosters under my production and keep my factory going. So that's Ideally. A few things that people have said about it, and we've got a couple of we've got 100 plus users. I'm totally blown away with the app. It just keeps getting better. The ideas don't stop. If I ever unsubscribe, it will be an accident. Had to share this. Happy coincidence, just sold a V-neck on Amazon UK that I created in Ideally about a fortnight ago. I just got my first Etsy sale of an Ideally design. Ideally is wonderful for generating funny ideas, too many actually, and I love this app. So these are all just screenshots of things people have said about it that are enjoying using it. And like I say, there's we've got this all these different tools, all these different ways of generating ideas. We've got lots of proven visual frameworks that we use to help come up with parody ideas, and the Academy to help you learn how to use it. But actually, if you want to kind of have a full like idea generation, comprehensive education in how I come up with my ideas, then really putting these two things together, ideally with my ideas workshop course, is the best way to do it. So I've got a special offer today. I'll just spend a couple of minutes talking about that, if that's okay. So if you're interested in kind of taking advantage of this opportunity of being able to create almost infinite amount of ideas to feed your AI design so that you can produce not just more designs, but actually better quality designs that are more likely to sell, and do it all, under one platform, under one roof, and keep it all really streamlined and simple so that you can just keep that process going, then ideally with the Ideas Workshop is the best way to do that. You're going to learn all the methods that I teach inside the Ideas Workshop course, and you'll be able to put them to work inside Ideally as well. Now, Ideally is $97 a month for the software to be able to do all of those things and tap into all of the AI and use all the things that we do. But today, what I'm going to do is offer you a special offer that includes both these things. So 12 months of Ideally access and the Ideas Workshop course with some extra bonuses as well. For example, my T-shirt business master plan course. This is a course I created back in 2017, and it's still incredibly useful. We've just migrated this over to our new system, and I'll just show you it here. So the T-shirt business master plan course is basically my complete business laid out, how I set everything up, my Google Sheets, how I organize everything, all the different foundations that I have, the strategies that I use, the implementation. And if you can believe it, this is actually, I think it's a 60 hours plus of content here in this course. So the last time this sold, this was a $999 course, and actually going to include that for free in this offer today. So that's the first bonus, my T-shirt business master plan course, which is $999 value, just included for free. Now, these are a couple of comments on the T-shirt business master plan course that people shared. This one said, since your course and information, I mixed them up with puns which are not yet to be found. This just led to another instant sale, so you must be doing something right. Someone here said, creating an original idea for an upcoming event. So far, I've made roughly $600 from that idea. Taking this course has given me the incentive to create on a daily basis, which is really important. And Michael, even if you stop the course now, I'm making money already. So many unique designs sold that I made in this course from your tips. So people really like the T-shirt business master plan course. It's really solid information, even though it's several years old. The content and the value there, I think, is really useful if you want to know how to kind of build a business like this from scratch. Bonus 2 is my Designing T-shirts the Right Way course that currently sells for $249. That's also included for free. Bonus 3 is my Total Trends Toolkit course, which focuses on how to spot upcoming trends and how to create designs that really work for those. That's also $249 if you go to my website and buy it today. And we also do bi-weekly live calls as part of this membership. So you get bi-weekly live calls where you can get help and feedback and where I share new features and things like that. And you'll also get a private onboarding call with me. So that's a half-hour call where we can talk about your business and introduce you to Ideally and get you set up so that you can start churning out ideas and designs at scale. So everything included, you can see it here on the screen. So the Ideally Pro account, that's usually $1,164 for the year. The Ideas Workshop course is $749. The T-shirt business master plan $999. You can see it all adds up to a lot, $3,678. But today you can get that for 12 months access for just $749. So that's a 12-month membership. All the future updates are included. You get unlimited access to Ideally. You get to lock in that price, and you have 14 days as well to check it out and to make sure that you're happy. So that's the Ideas Workshop course and offer today. You can get access to it at ideally.app/offer. This is the page you'll see. But also, if you'd rather just kind of dip your toe in the water with Ideally, maybe you don't want to commit to like a 12-month membership right off the bat, then I do have a special offer on that as well, and that's the Ideally 3-month Pro plan. So this gives you 3 months access to Ideally at the Pro level, the $97 a month level, which would usually be $291. You get the 30-minute private onboarding call to get you set up, and you also get my 4 ebook bonus, which is 4 of my latest ebooks on different topics, from using humor and coming up with ideas all the way through to design and strategy. That's $117 value there. So the offer on this is a total value of over $500. Today you can get that for a $145 subscription, and that is a 3-month plan. So you have access for 3 months. You can cancel any time before that. And for $145, you'll have access to an Ideally Pro account, to the all the updates and everything that's included, and you'll have the bonus books on top of that as well. And that's at exactly the same place, ideally.app/offer. I will put that on the screen. You can see the page here. So you're essentially getting a 50% lifetime discount because it's over a 50% discount on the software, and of course you can renew at that price, so you get a lifetime discount at that reduced rate. So check that out at ideally.app/offer. I will leave that those details up on the screen. And we've got a few minutes to take any questions, if there's any questions on anything that I've shared here. And while that's ongoing, I will just share the link there for you guys in the chat, so that you can check that out at your leisure. And I should say as well, if you've got any questions about this, maybe you don't want to ask them here on the live, or you're watching the replay, then you can just email me, michael@michaelessek.com, and I'll get back to you and answer any questions that you might have. Carrie has a question. What are the rights for this? I'm thinking about art licensing. That is a fantastic question, Carrie. And the answer is that Ideally uses different AI models, and all of the models we use are safe to use for commercial purposes, but there's a couple of caveats. So I'll just show you, like here, these are all the different models we use, so like Flux and GPT and Seedream and stuff. These are all different models. I don't create the AI models. We just tap into them and we use them as part of our software. So different models are trained on different things. There's currently issues going through the courts on like copyright and the copyright legal status of AI generated artwork. But I'll tell you what I'm doing, which is I'm using it to create the illustrations. I'm using it to obviously to kind of brainstorm, colors and ideas and layouts and things like that for these designs. And then I'm usually making quite a lot of edits to these designs myself. So I'm very rarely taking a design that we get here in Ideally and actually, uploading it straight away and putting it out there. I'm usually making some significant edits, and there's a couple of reasons for that. One is that I do want to actually retain copyright, so I want to do enough things to the design to actually make it qualify for copyright protection. And also because I don't want things to look and feel kind of AI in my brand, if that makes sense. So I am doing changes to it. I recommend you do the same. But in terms of like legal usage of this stuff, you should be fairly safe because most of the AIs say, you can use it commercially. That's fine. There's no limitations on that. The only thing I would caveat that with is no one really knows what the legal status of AI generated stuff is yet. It's not really been tested in court that much. So I can't, can't legally protect you, but I would just make sure that you do, make some edits, make some changes, do things so that you create designs that are original. Hope that makes sense. Okay. Carrie says, okay, makes perfect sense. Thank you. No problem. Terrence says, I'm a current subscriber. There is a trademark checker incorporated in the software. Yes, that's true. Thank you for mentioning that, Terrence. Whenever you save an idea in Ideally, we actually check that idea against trademarks, and we also do what we call an originality check for that idea. So here, for example, things like feeling feral, we went ahead and we do a check on Google to see if there's any results for that, and we do a trademark check. And we don't just check the US database, we actually check worldwide. So all that happens behind the scenes as you are saving ideas, and Ideally you're just scrolling through and saving funny phrases and stuff like that. And behind the scenes, we're checking the trademark database to make sure it's safe. And as you can see, all of these ideas here, these have all come up green. That means they're safe. This idea here, Born to Run, that is not unique. That is not passed a product check. So that's why that one has come out orange. Has passed a trademark check though, so that there must be no trademark on Born to Run. This is that's another pro feature that we have inside Ideally, which will which allows you to be confident in the ideas that you're coming up with. RR says, Michael, I design humorous teas for people from specific places, cities, states, etc., using humor about that particular place, like New Yorkers. Will Ideally help with this? Yeah, absolutely, RR. Inside Ideally, basically, the more you know about your topic, the better results you're going to get. So we have some tools to kind of help people generate what we call like input words or seed words. So over here, if I just did like a quick search for New York, this is the Wordstormer tool inside Ideally. This helps you brainstorm related words. So the idea is that you put in a topic or a subject, it brings back words, and then you can use those words inside the other Ideally tools to actually come up with, alliteration, phrases, funny one-liners, rhyme and replace results, things like that. So if I put in New York, this should be going and calling, I think it's GPT, and then it's going to bring back some results here. It can take a few seconds because it's actually categorizing them as well. This is bringing back related words like metropolis and skyscrapers and verbs, adjectives, professions, activities. So these are all like good jumping off points. But really, I mean, if you know things about the topic, then that's going to be really helpful for you because you can go straight to plug-in phrases. You can put in something related to New York, like the Big Apple or whatever that might be. I'm trying to think off the top of my head, but I'm struggling. But yeah, you will obviously, you will be able to do that, and then you'll be able to narrow things down. Come up with a lot of different ideas. So yeah, the more you know about your topic, if you've got, and I assume you have, RI, you've got examples of ideas which you already have out there based on words and things about those different areas, then yeah, entering those into Ideally is likely to produce some really good results for you there. So yes, and of course you've got a 14-day trial anyway. You can try it out, see if it works for you. If you're not satisfied, you can just get a full refund as well. And of course you can cancel your subscription anytime. So you could just sign up for the 3 months, cancel your subscription, and then you've got 3 months worth of idea generating time to squeeze as many ideas out of Ideally as you can. So hope that helps. I think I've answered all questions there. Let me see if there's any I've missed. I don't think so. So yeah, just to reiterate, ideally.app/offer is where you can find the offer on Ideally, including whether you want to go for the 12-month or the 3-month. You can find all the details there. If you've got any questions about any of this that you need help with, or something that I've not covered here today, then please do drop me an email and let me know. I'll be happy to help you out with that. I will be I'll be sending out the replay of this, so you can get access to that. If you'd like the slides for today, you can email me and I'll make sure you get access to those as well. But yeah, I think that's it regarding questions. Oh, one more question there from Mazdak. I just echo back lobster question. Is Redbubble dead? Can we talk about that topic too? Yeah, really quickly, Redbubble, I'd say it's dying. It's not dead for me, but I have seen my TeePublic earnings outstrip Redbubble for the first time in the past couple of months. Redbubble's having some internal boardroom issues. They're falling out, and that's causing, I don't know, I suppose that's not really causing too many issues that weren't already happening, but I would certainly say that Redbubble's struggling at the moment. Still a good platform for me, still brings in, at least several $100 a month, but it's not the beast that it was a few years ago. I'm seeing TeePublic earnings creep up, whereas Redbubble earnings are creeping down. That's just for me personally. So I hope that helps you, Mazdak. All right. Awesome. Thank you guys for joining me today. I think I've answered everything that I can see. If you've got any questions, like I say, you can drop me an email, michael@michaelessek.com, and head over to ideally.app/offer if you want to take advantage of this special offer right now. I'll be sending out an email tomorrow. I'll be sending out the replay. Make sure you're on my email list so that you can catch up on all the latest. Oh, Tony, can I use the idea checker with my own ideas and not just the ones generated by the software? Yes, Tony, you can. On every page in Ideally, we have this little new idea button at the top. You can just hit that. You can enter your idea, save it, and we will check it. So you can add in your ideas. It will automatically go and get checked against all the other ideas in the trademark database. It will do the originality check. So you can see that one's just popped up there. It's going to go and get scored, blah, blah, blah. And then you can use it to come up with graphics as well. So yeah, there's lots you can do inside Ideally, which I haven't been able to talk about here today. So yeah, there's lots of features like that. But yeah, if there's anything else you think of that you're like, oh, it would be cool if it did that, please let me know. I will be happy to add features. We're adding features all the time. This is constantly being updated. We just added new AI models this week. We're adding new phrases all the time. We have this little feedback button here where people are submitting new ideas or features that they'd like to see added. We do a survey every month. So yeah, I would love to have you inside being part of this, building this software together. I use it to come up with my ideas, and lots of others are really enjoying it as well. So ideally.app/offer. Tony says sold. That's great. Hope to see you on the inside, Tony, and see you at the live calls, which we do every couple of weeks as well. Okay, I guess we'll wrap it up there for today. Thank you for joining me today, guys. Hope you have a great rest of your Thursday, and I'll be in your inbox shortly and hopefully see you on a live soon. Okay, thanks so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.